Hello, everybody, and welcome to the This Week in the Tech Boy podcast. We have so much to get to today, from our new redesigned website to the direction that this company is going to head in, because this is just really important. Technology is important. Technology will always be here. We're always going to have a need for technology journalism and technology consulting. However, I'm starting to feel slightly burned out by this because it's sometimes a bit repetitive. Sometimes I can't come up with any ideas because, of course, we need funding to go out there and test out new devices. Of course, that's what we did with the Motorola Razr phone. We took it from Amazon, we did a slight review of it, then we shipped it back, right? But that takes some time. It took me like a week actually to get my money back. So I want to be able to create content for you guys. I want to be able to express my opinions and express my beliefs without having to keep grinding out content for SEO. I have so many opinions and standards on things, but of course, due to situations beyond my control and lack of funding and, sometimes lack of media access, we don't have access that some of these other people have. Last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, I was talking about how I have this love all these evangelical media companies, kind of focus on the family, some other websites as well. I found this pastor called Pastor Jack Hibbs. He's very interesting, very intriguing pastor. We're actually going to be talking about him a little bit today. He is a Chad, in my opinion. And, and he has his own little television network with news and some other commentators and, all these companies, His Glory Media, and all these other random websites that I've been finding and trying to use ChatGPT to find, because there's two things that we have a problem with in technology is that some of these sites that do interesting things like this and have that kind of evangelical vibe that I was talking about from 2003, super patriotic or whatever, right? You guys know implicitly what I'm talking about, but you can't really name one that I am trying to refer to. It's kind of like when you are against someone or you're angry and upset with someone and you know that they have wronged you and you are in the right, and then someone asks, okay, so tell me what they've done to you, and your mind kind of blanks. Well, that's kind of what it is, of course, with the internet search problem, because everyone is chasing SEO, the algorithm. I know I kind of sound like a sellout blaming the algorithm for everything, but this is something that is true. The algorithm kind of sends it to the top and you can't really explain in the way that you want. And of course, that is one of the reasons artificial intelligence is so important, because with artificial intelligence, you can kind of explain your way around. And I was able to do that, but of course, you have to go in and talk about things and go find them on the internet by yourself. So I went in, I found some of these podcasts, and I went to the what do they call it? What was that podcast? Whatever network, His Glory, His Glory Network, and then found this kid who had her own podcast. It's very interesting. And then I went and found her and found all the people that she interviewed. So what I'm saying is that these networks accept themselves, right? They're all not very linked well together because, of course, the algorithm and bad SEO practices. And this is, of course, where I would come in. They'll do the news reporting, of course, they'll do the commentary, and of course, I do some of that as well. But you know what? My expertise is. It is in technology. We love Patriot Mobile. We love all these other companies, and we love the work that they are doing. But they do need technological contributors. Okay, all these news organizations and websites, some of them, they just don't understand how technology works. They don't understand how these things work. They think that everything's out to get them. And of course, there are some people who are out to get them. But it's just, some people believe that they've been shadow banned, and when in reality, they just don't know SEO. That's all I'm going to say on that. And sometimes the websites, they're not the best designed as well. And of course, the audience, I think Newsmax calls them Boomer Plus, Boomer Power, whatever, right? 65 plus people, love them all, right? And I mostly align and probably would agree with them on the Compass test. But, they do not have a high knowledge of technology. And that's where I would come in. I can come in and say, okay, guys, what is your technological expertise? What do you want to know? How do you want to be able to utilize your technology? And I can come in and have a segment and talk about that as well. While, of course, always defending the Gen Z perspective. Right, the Gen Z perspective is sometimes left out in some of these conversations as well. Some people are going online talking about how we want to have cell phone bans, and some random governor candidate that, God forbid I criticize him, or, I am the worst person on God's green earth. Okay, I will get absolutely nuked if I criticize this person, which is kind of weird if you think about that. Because if I, they'll say that for some, other Middle Eastern country. But I digress. I was like, hey guys, we don't have time to sit around and start losing. But fine, whatever. I'll endorse them. Okay, look, if some random tech blogger can get a random governor candidate who's polling at 2% to become governor of the great state of Florida, then, like, what am I supposed to do about that? Like, that's not my fault. Anyway, but, obviously we have the Florida cell phone ban, and then you have the, he wants to impose uniforms and things of this nature. And it's kind of like the poor kids of Florida. They don't, like, what are they going to have left anymore? You can't have a cell phone. You have to wear these stupid uniforms. But irregardless, what I'm saying is that the point is the Gen Z perspective kind of gets left out, right? I think people are, of course, super concerned about child safety and super concerned about, making sure that the kids are doing what's right, that they forget that the kids exist and have their own opinions as well and can actually debate their opinions as well. For the record, my opinion on cell phones in school is that if you're not in a class that requires a cell phone, maybe you need to use a calculator or using the essentials on the phone, using an application like Firefox to collect physics data, then you don't need to be on the phone. And my concession would be is that, more kids need to be in detention regardless. So just like put them in detention for having possession of a phone. Now, of course, if you had the phones planted on you because you're the school's top detective, et cetera, from that 2021 Adventure in Odyssey episode, The Team, well, too bad, so sad, right? You kind of get screwed under this legislation. But you do get to have your phone during the passing period so you can see your schedule, and during lunch, and of course in the bathroom, because quite frankly, they're acting like animals in the bathroom. I do not want to be surrounded by you people. And if I have to be in the bathroom with you, I'm going to have a phone so I can call 911 or at least have pictures proving that I wasn't doing anything illegal. Okay, back when I was in public high school, the kids were running around beating each other with towels. Okay, we can talk about this. We've talked about this multiple times. You can go see my Texas cell phone ban episode from August. Right, that has been my position regardless, and I can go up there and I can debate on it as well. And of course, I can talk about, when they have these segments on about big tech, we can talk about ExpressVPN. We can talk about, whatever their sponsors are. We can talk about Apple. We can talk about these new applications as well. I mean, it would be kind of easier if they gave me a few lists of talking points. They can go in and I can explain if these things right off the top of my head, because I have knowledge that, it may seem simple, but when compared to the rest of society, this knowledge is, special, right? I just haven't been able to activate it here on thetechboy.org because of, sort of bad SEO. We need to pay more advertising, etc. And, that's why you've been seeing this sort of radical change that I've had over the week. Because we cannot keep getting destroyed by, random kids on the internet, right? When, these kids on stream are like, oh, no, they change up my name or, say I'm paid $7,000. That is not good PR, guys. Okay, guys, regardless of what you may think, that's not good PR. Okay, if I was paid $7,000, would I be here? No, I don't think so. But this is to say that the Tech Boy Media wants to, kind of merge into another company and provide tech consulting and tech advice, as well as providing a Gen Z perspective. So if any of these companies are out there today, and hey, maybe I can help you with your websites as well, so that I don't have to go talk to Perplexity or ChatGPT or Grok and kind of get these outlets out there, because I know that you exist. We all know that they exist, right? We all have that like nice, warm, fuzzy, evangelical, patriotic American vibe about us that we all like, right? But no one knows about this. Like if you typed in patriotic evangelical tech podcast, is this going to pop up? No, it's not going to pop up. But for these people, they're kind of like scattered across Rumble and scattered across bad website design, and they're not really hyperlinking with each other. I can help with that, especially if I'm being paid and not sitting here in the library all day for free. All right, now for the technology news today, right? Technology goes and fades away, and this is why, of course, I want to kind of push into this so I can make this a career. I can make this my job. I can actually profit. I like to turn a profit, guys. Right? That $7,000 isn't going to last forever, but OnePlus might be going away, right? And if OnePlus goes away, and Asus is gone, okay? Asus says that they're going to go focus on AI applications. Now, Asus does make GPUs. So that does make sense. They make the GPUs. They can maybe make some chips, etc. And their phones were not selling well as well. I have never seen an Asus phone in the wild in my life, right? They had the super small, like 5.9-inch phone. Never seen that. They had the gaming ROG phones. Never seen those as well. Their software support was unfortunately abysmal. Only like 2 years of software updates, which were very late, 4 years of security updates, and they made the ROG Phone Ultra, which is just a big ultra phone, which if you want a big ultra phone, Samsung makes those pretty well. There's no reason that anyone's going to buy an Asus phone in the United States of America, either unless it's a small phone or a gaming phone, which the gaming phone market, I don't really understand why it exists. Right? You have these flagship phones, the flagship iPhone, the flagship Samsung, and of course the flagship OnePlus phones that do more than enough, especially when the game content is so bad. The game library on Android is abysmal. It is trash. There's nothing interesting in there. No open world games, no high school simulators. The driving games like Asphalt 9 can run off of like a Samsung Galaxy Tab A9. Okay, so when we look at the gaming market, would you rather have a premium phone with premium cameras and premium hardware that you can get from a carrier, which God forbid you get a phone from a carrier? Oh my goodness. I just stated that I like to get a phone from a carrier and I got destroyed on Reddit. I was like, I don't want to pay that, right? I don't really pay for my phones up front. I don't want to get an upfront phone. We had to deal with Sprint or T-Mobile, and this is what we do. I got like 28 downvotes, right? Heaven forbid that you ever disagree with the great Reddit. Heaven forbid that you ever disagree with the great Reddit. You will get destroyed. Anyway, right? You can get your Samsung phone either unlocked, or you can get it in a store, of course, unlocked, or you can get it in the carrier stores. Asus, I've never seen it in a store. I've never seen it in Best Buy. I've never seen it in Micro Center. The closest Asus thing that I've seen in Micro Center is an Asus laptop. Right? If you want to see an Asus product, you got to go to their website. You got to go through their website to hear of a phone brand that no one's really heard of. Right, I think they have like 10% on the computer market, so it's even worse than if, say, HP or Dell got into the phone business. Because if HP and Dell got into the phone business, you'd be like, "Oh, I know HP, I know Dell. They make computers. Maybe their phones are good as well." Asus, like no one really hears about them, right? And Samsung, right? They make computers, and no one really hears about them. But like, I have a Samsung phone. My Samsung phone's good, so maybe I'll try out their computer. That's how they're able to exist. Also, Samsung, they make tanks, they make apartments, they'll be fine. Right, the Samsung could take a $3 million loss on laptops every year, and they will live. Right, Apple could take $1 billion losses on laptops every year, and they would also live. But Asus, they cannot do this. Right, Asus advertising is basically by word of mouth. And if these phone companies are getting out of the phone business and are going to coalesce around Motorola, who can live because they're owned by Lenovo, and we have Google phones, who obviously can live, right? Google probably make more money if they stop selling phones, but they want to sell phones. They want to have their own hardware. They want to have their own development platform. And of course, Apple and Samsung, then one iteration is going to be the same thing over and over again, which I will happily and gladly cover, right? If any of these companies, except for Apple, wants to pay me to be their brand ambassador, if any of these companies want to pay me to represent their phones and review them and basically become the exclusive site and hub for them, absolutely, I will take that position, right? And if they want to send me phones, of course, there's going to be iteration. Everything's going to change like slightly a little bit. It's not like you can sell the same phone twice unless you're Apple, but I'm not going to go out of my way and pay $1,000 for a phone that is like 95% the same, especially when the application developers are behind. Right? Everyone says that the government is behind technology, which does make sense. I was listening to this podcast today, and he was talking about how it was legal to basically hack into computers until President Reagan saw that the War Games movie, where he was like, well, can people actually do this? And he was like, yeah, kind of. They can actually do this. So he said, Congress, get to work, make it illegal. And then Congress got to work. They made it illegal, and they signed in a law that made it basically illegal to hack into computers. Well, do you know what's even before technology? Application development. The hardware on our devices is infinitely more powerful than what we use it for today. Now, this does mean that we do get bloat. We get, waste, fraud, and abuse, as Natalie Winters would say if she was on a tech podcast, which she wouldn't be unless she comes on my podcast. But I digress from that. Look, we have 12 gigabytes of RAM in a phone, or maybe eight, because, the great evil AI, how dare you like artificial intelligence, the great evil AI might actually, take away your RAM because, you really needed that to play Pokemon Go. Yeah, you really need that, which is why it was popular 10 years ago when your phone had like 3-4 gigabytes of RAM. Okay, fine. Look, and you have these super powerful chips, you have these super powerful processors, you have a 120 hertz, 144 hertz display, and you're still playing Candy Crush. The application developers are far behind the state of the phone and the state of the computers today, and it's really unfortunate. In fact, the only company that has been able to really do on-device artificial intelligence that I've seen in the news, from a headline today, Adobe is adding artificial intelligence into their Creative Cloud, like masking, when you want to select essentially an object around it, and it's going to work on device. So congratulations, point one to the hey, RAM costs $900 for this, guys. RAM took away my AI slot. Congratulations, Adobe finally did something with offline artificial intelligence. And like I was talking about in the last podcast episode, decentralization of artificial intelligence, I think it's key. It's very important. And I think that it's what the next trend is going to be, because these companies, it's obviously a bubble. It's just like the .com bubble. They're going to boost, and you're not going to have 20 million artificial intelligence chatbots on the internet today. You're going to have to consolidate around 2 or 3, just like we all consolidated around 1 or 2 search engines, Google and Bing, and then all the other search engines basically base themselves off of Bing. Right, with artificial intelligence and with the technology that we have available to us today, I do believe that we're going to be able to access it offline using the RAM, because RAM prices are obviously going to come down. It's simple supply and demand. We're going to find new ways to make it. Guys, we don't need to be freaking out about this. It's not like it's oxygen. Okay, it's not like artificial intelligence companies are taking oxygen that you need to live. Right, in 1960, do you know how many gigabytes the average human needed to live, of RAM they needed to live? 0. And in 2060, do you know how many gigabytes of RAM the average human is going to need to live? Also 0. Do you know why? Because RAM is not food, water, or shelter. Okay, RAM is not a human right. RAM is not an essential to live. It's a nice thing to have, good to have in your computers. But okay, we need to stop freaking out about this, guys. Right, you will be able to play GTA 6 just fine. Okay, maybe you won't be able to play it on the extreme high settings. Who cares? Like, seriously, who cares? And this, once again, I'm going to fight for AI till my last dying breath. I got that mixed up. The Adventures in Odyssey fans, you guys know the audio drama. And for those of you who don't know, guys, let's call this our rated segment for today. The audio drama that was built in 1987 and still exists today, and is unfortunately only on streaming. Point 1 for folks on the family for embracing technology there. The audio drama that in the 90s had this thing called the Imagination Station. For those of you who don't know, the Imagination Station is this artificial intelligence virtual reality station that can send you back in time to our Odyssey's history, or it can send you to Bible stories as well. So this is how Adventure Odyssey does their Bible stories. And it's this high-tech virtual reality machine that sends you back in time, essentially. But, it's computer coded. Right? Adventure Odyssey, the same audio drama that had Nicholas Adamsworth in the 80s using dial-up hacking to hack into a computer and change people's grades, and then doing it again. And then the same thing, audio drama that had a computer program called Applesauce. It was the most powerful computer program on planet Earth. Maybe it could do something with nuclear weapons. It could synthesize chemicals. The same audio drama that had a stolen laptop computer in the early 90s, had a homing device. This is in when they go to Chicago. It's I'm blanking on the name of the episode, because when Mr. Whitaker and Connie go to Chicago, it's pre-1995, by the way, guys, like in real time. This is the same audio drama that has the Room of Consequences, like an AI-enhanced box that talks to you and gives you solutions based on the inputs and things that you select. All right, so Adventure Odyssey is what sparked my interest in technology, sparked my interest in espionage, is what sparked my interest in cybersecurity. Right, Adventure Odyssey is a very tech-focused audio drama of all the audio dramas. Now, it doesn't get tech all the way correct, but it does get it, somewhat correct. Now, when it did talk about real technologies that you and I could actually interface with today, or the listeners could back in the 90s and the early 2000s. Right? Oh yeah, I almost forgot about this. Novacom, this thing where they had basically using cable boxes to change people's minds and control mind control, essentially. Right. So Adventure Odyssey is very tech focused, very tech centric. Right. And this is what caused me to like technology as well. Right. And for the technologies that you and I could actually interface in our everyday lives back in the 90s and the early 2000s, like, say, the internet or television, right? They mostly were on it as well. Of course, they are an evangelical company, so they basically do the whole split. Guys, this technology can be used for good. This technology can be used for bad. Guys, how can we use this technology to glorify God? Boom. That is literally every evangelical company's stance on AI. It stands on television. It stands on social media. It stands on the computers, every single one of them. This is why I'd be so good at this job, because I know the answers that they want to every question. Now, can we debate on that? Sure, but like, why should I? Like, I don't really have that much. I don't have stock in artificial intelligence, guys. Like, if they want me to say that for $50, I'll say it. But the Adventure Odyssey fans are hating Adventure Odyssey, again, the tech-forward, tech-centric audio drama, for using artificial intelligence in their Instagram posts. for their character design. Now, it's not official. They're not saying it's artificial intelligence, but these people, for some reason, who hate artificial intelligence so much that they're literally zooming in onto like people's shoelaces to try to find inaccuracies or whatever, are trying to say that it's unethical for Adventionati and Focus on the Family to be using artificial intelligence. Now, I do not get why people who are opposite Focus on the Family's political spectrum, I guess, are really huge fans of Adventure Odyssey. Like, this is an actual thing. Focus on the Family, if they were on the political compass, would be like center right? All half the Adventure Odyssey fans online or align with Focus on the Family because their parents grew up with it. They listen to that. They listen to broadcasts. They listen to Adventure Odyssey, right? And of course, I agree and align with Focus on the Family as well. I agree with Baby Citizen. And then they'll be like, nah, guys, we don't actually agree with anything the show says about the inerrancy of the Bible. We don't agree with that, guys. Nah, we just like the show, but we kind of think that they're, a bit homophobic. We think that the show, had some, what do they call it? It's not inappropriate, problematic episodes, but we still like the show. We're going to bash on it. It's so ridiculous. I mean, there was just one guy in the Adventure Odyssey subreddit who was saying he was an ex-evangelical, and I asked, and he didn't like that Adventure Odyssey was using artificial intelligence. So I asked him, guys, so are you still a Christian? Because I mean, you can obviously be Christian, not be evangelical. Maybe you converted from evangelical to Catholic, right? So maybe we can have an actual debate on this. He thought it was immoral, unethical for Adventure Odyssey, Focus on the Family, using artificial intelligence. And then he said, no, I'm not a Christian. Respectfully, why the heck do I care? Why the heck do I care what you have to say about anything regarding morals and ethics? Right? The only source for morals and ethics, and I will say this, I've said it before, I'll say it again. The only source for morals and ethics is the Bible. And people are like, what? What? So you're saying you'd murder someone if it wasn't in the Bible? Look, guys, the Bible is the only source of truth in the world. That is unequivocally true. Guys, God created earth. God created all of us and the earth in it, right? And God said it's wrong to murder. It's wrong to murder because we are created in God's image. Therefore, if God did not create us, because apparently we're just assuming that the Bible's not true or whatever, and God didn't create us, and we're just random people who just kind of sprouted up out of the ground, we don't have any self-worth or self-dignity, then fine, murder doesn't matter. Do you know why? Because it's not in the Bible. And of course, these people are going to point to natural law saying that, well, murder is wrong because we just know that murder is wrong. Well, guys, you do know that's in the Bible, right? That God has written certain laws on our hearts, right? Murder is wrong because we were created in the image of God. Every law that has been prescribed has been set by God. You know why? Because he created this earth and he created the rules for it. It's like I talked about SSILTW and GCAM. Right? The rules of the school, the map, the way high school geopolitics worked, right, was that you had GCAM on one side, JVN on the other side. Now, I could have maybe tried to come in and try to rewrite the map, kind of rewrite the rules of the school, but that kind of would have broke the way that the school worked. The same way, God created the earth. He created everything in it. He created the rules that are set here for it. So we're going to just pretend that the Bible is not true, and that the Bible is not inerrant, and that the rules that we have are not set upon our hearts because God put them there. Then we can do whatever we want. But in this hyper-theoretical simulation, obviously, this doesn't happen. That's not a thing that you can do. We cannot say that something such and such is wrong just because I feel like it's wrong. Why should I listen to you, a random Redditor? What? I should not listen to any Redditor about what wrong or right is ever. Look, if let's pretend that the Bible doesn't exist. If a Redditor is for it, you should be against it. That would if a Redditor is for it, you should be against it. That is morals 101. Morals 101. If Reddit agrees with something, you should be against it. That you would be like in 98% alignment with the Bible at that point, guys. If Reddit's for it, be against it. That's actually a good rule of thumb to go by. And he was like upset that I said, no, look, why should I listen to you? And according to the Bible, of course, you would be hellbound. You're going to hell. So why should I listen to you about ethics, about artificial intelligence, which is a Christian gray area? And as you guys know, it's the policy of this company, policy of me, to not really go against Christian gray areas, right? When we talk about, random Christian gray areas, I'm not going to go around and criticize half my allies, half of my friends who are doing something that I don't technically like, but it's not a sin. I don't care. I don't give a crap. Right? I only care about the rules that are clearly stated in the Bible. Like, don't murder. So if one of my friends is a murder, obviously I'm going to tune them in. I'm like, guys, he's over here. He's over here. Right? But if you don't care about this, you don't subscribe to any ideology, so you can just make up whatever right and wrong is. How am I supposed to debate you on that? Right? The Bible is not against artificial intelligence. Right? You are living in sin. You cannot say that something is unethical. I mean, you can. You be a hypocrite, but you can say whatever you want. First, free amendment. Sorry, it's a free country. First Amendment. You can say whatever the heck you want. Look, you cannot say that something is unethical and then just say, well, I don't believe the Bible. Well, what are you basing this off of? You? I don't care about you. Quite frankly, I don't. Like, who are you, bro? You're just some random guy on the internet. I do not care. You know, these Adventure Odyssey fans that apparently don't agree with the Bible, don't agree with the show, all hate artificial intelligence. That is what we are dealing with here, people. They are crazy people. They are crazy.